Jeffrey Doucet is a model of the I can principle. His motto is life is adventure. Being a top drawer platform presenter is a personal goal, one Jeffrey takes seriously. He'll share more about this in his presentation mastery journey. Please help me in welcoming Jeffrey.
Good evening, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. My presentation tonight, you're probably wondering, Jeffrey, presentation mastery, and doing an introduction. Why an introduction when you're starting a new path, but you're an experienced Toastmaster? Well, there's a number of reasons for that. First off, I'm going to tell you a story about Vince Lombardi. Vince Lombardi was one of the greatest football coaches the world has ever seen. Each year, Vince Lombardi would have players who would return to play football from the previous years. But what did he do? Every season, regardless of how experienced you were, Vince Lombardi would start each and every player with the basics. Why the basics? Because it's the basics that are the foundation of everything that we do in a platform presentation. For example, this evening in preparing my presentation to stand before you, the room I was going to use was unavailable. So I had to come into my bunkhouse to do the speech for you. Right away, I noticed my camera is lower. I'm looking down on you. That's not a good way to start a presentation. In knowing that, I tried to make other arrangements. I tried to find a stand to put it on. I tried to find other things to do, but I simply ran out of time. Basic message: be prepared. Always check your equipment out well in advance. Vince Lombardi, in playing football, ensured that the quarterback knew the basic skills each and every time and was prepared before the meeting, or in his case, the game. That's why starting with the basics every time is important. Consider this. We've heard the quote from Henry Ford, quote, "Whether you think you can or think you can't, you are right," close quote. Whether you think you can or think you can't, you are right. Here's another very basics for doing presentations. Before you walk onto the platform, how many of you stop, pause, and take 3 at least deep breaths? In a recent presentation, I skipped that step. Why? Because I thought I was a little bit better than what I had planned to say in front of the folks that invited me to speak. They were just a bunch of seniors. I was only there to fill in. I didn't do that. I got on the platform or before them. I started my presentation, and guess what happened? My energy went, my enthusiasm went, my can-do died. Basic step, minimum 3 deep breaths before you step on the platform. So let's go back to where I started. Why would an experienced Toastmaster want to start with the basics of every time he or she starts a path? It's because it's the foundation of what makes us successful. To be a successful speaker, you need to have the key components down pat. Then you start working on the more difficult aspects. But guess what? As an experienced Toastmaster, even as you move through that path, each of those skills build on the basics that you had. So what about perfection? When do you arrive there? Again, I'll go back to Vince Lombardi and I'll give you this quote. Quote, perfection is not attainable, but if we choose perfection, we can catch excellence. Close quote. That's what Vince Lombardi said. So you start with the basics and you're growing and you want to be perfect. I want to be a champion speaker. I want to hold the platform where I control the interest of the audience, where I can see what they're feeling. I can sense where they're at. I know whether my presentation is impacting or not. But it's not the goal of getting to perfection. The goal is that as you strive for that perfection, as Lombardi said, you will achieve excellence. And ladies and gentlemen, Jeffrey, introduction, pathways, why me? It's because I believe to be effective, to achieve that excellence, you need to start with the basics each and every time. Madam Toastmaster.